So focused on his goal of reaching the out-of-gas vehicle, Jules barely registers the slaughter he commits while pouring the precious fuel into the rusted tank. Now emboldened by the fact that his home was only a quick drive away, he delves deeper into the park he had been clearing over the past several days. Scavenging food to bring back to his station, he's surprised to find the other side of the park almost completely devoid of the undead, coming to the assumption that his efforts must have drawn them into the field he had drenched in blood. Discovering a near pristine truck at the entrance, he has no luck in locating the keys, but enjoys the growing sensation of confidence as he moves about the area he had cleared out, all by himself. Unable to shake this true feeling of accomplishment, he strides happily back to his fueled-up steed before being confronted with its fragile and rattling engine. While the little coupe wasn't in pristine condition, it was miles ahead of the true rust buckets he had been forced to rely on, providing Jules an invisible shield of resilience that not even the undead could pierce. Knowing that basic mechanics was next on his growing list of necessary skills, Jules tows one of the nearby wrecks into his yard before puttering his new companion into a proper parking spot. Admiring the worn and beaten vehicle with a tired smile, Jules does spot a steady leak coming from the gas tank, but accepts the defect temporarily, with plans of fixing it when he's able. Truly indulging in the comfort and tranquility he had fought so hard to achieve, Jules actually looks forward to the arrival of tomorrow, excited by all the new possibilities he's made available for himself. Ending his victorious day by making headway into his literature on car maintenance, he finally drifts off to sleep, hopeful and content. Rising before the sun, he wastes no time in grabbing his supplies and hopping in his newly acquired trophy. Though the engine rattled and a slow trickle of fuel was left in its wake, Jules knew he had finally acquired the key to his survival. Taking note he would have to clear the growing stragglers at the entrance to his road, he steers himself back in the direction of the trailer park, in hopes of fully exploring every home. Refueling from a wrecked car in his path, he recognizes the need to fix the leak, but again pushes the dreary thought to the back of his mind. A fuel hose had fallen completely loose, dumping the contents of his tank across the cold asphalt. Though he could easily reattach it, Jules was now forced to face the reality of his situation. Nothing he achieved was ever secure. It could all be taken away in a singular moment. Stranded halfway between home and his destination, he decides to at least scavenge part of his day by finishing the journey on foot and finding more gas to get his unsteady ride home. Finding himself growing more and more frustrated by the simple setback, as every step serves as a constant reminder of his brutal existence, Jules channels his anger and aggression towards the undead, making sure to leave none alive, or as alive as they could be. Finally reaching the trailer park, he knows that none of the cars within hold any gas, and instead turns his sights on whatever lies on the other side of the main road. Discovering a parking lot with a handful of vehicles, he's unsurprised to also spy a dutiful horde of infected guarding his potential salvation. Making it past the wall of rotting flesh, and finding one of the trucks ready to be siphoned, he figures out that he's stumbled across a storage facility, which more than likely held some resource or tool he would need for the winter. Again, in hopes of finding keys for any of the cars parked in the lot, he begins clearing the office building before being predictably disappointed. Only having a gas can of fuel and a scrap of knowledge to show for his day, Jules begins to trek back to his car, bitter and annoyed, but still full of the determination that had got him this far. No longer seeing his newly acquired vehicle as a trophy, but instead as a resource drain and a death trap, Jules turns his obsessive mind towards the pursuit of knowledge and the ability to hotwire. Experimenting on the clunker he had dragged into his yard, Jules isn't fully prepared to waste an entire day on the mess of wires and vague instructions he has to work with, instead opting to successfully see through the journey he had been denied yesterday. Interest piqued by the storage units, he turns his attention towards them for the day, and wonders what treasures they hold after he's wrenched them from the grip of the undead. The beginning of his day shows promise, as he comes across a cardboard box stuffed with books and manuals, then finding a generator in the next unit over. But slowly the excitement of wrenching these mystery boxes open fades, as one after another reveals nothing but dusty furniture and old clothes. Eventually feeling safe enough to drive his precarious vehicle into the property, he makes swift work of loading up the generator he's unfamiliar with, before turning his attention to the smaller units indoors. Initially finding the same junk he discovered outside, he eventually stumbles across a manual that was as good as gold. A collection of glossy pages that held the intricate details of commercial vehicles and how to service them. Thinking over what he had found as he loots a handful of the remaining units, he begins to realize that fixing his current clunker was a waste of energy. With the manual he now had in his possession, the only thing standing between him and a reliable pickup truck was the ability to hotwire, which Jules knew he could obtain if he set his tireless mind to it. As he begins his journey back up the hill to his station, Jules finds himself in a rare state of reflection and the relative safety of his rolling liability. He hadn't truly taken a moment to stop and think, to recognize the insane accomplishment he had achieved with the simple fact of still being alive. Kevin had always seen him as weak, perhaps rightfully so, as Jules never displayed an ounce of drive after the world had shattered into a million pieces. But now Jules had more than proven he was willing and able to not only survive, but to persevere in a scenario where so many others would have stumbled. Looking around at the sanctuary he had built for himself, and igniting yet another fire to provide a comforting and warm meal, Jules finds his mind wandering to Marcus and the ultimate sacrifice he had made. Had giving his life been worth it? Had he seen something in Jules that Jules couldn't see in himself? Would Marcus have even made it through the same hell and come out the other side? Maybe, but maybe not. Waking up with a simple goal for the day, Jules again wastes no time as he strikes out into the morning fog and revs the pathetic engine of his tiny car. Freeing the other wreck from the tendrils of nature, Jules recognizes the opportunity this utility vehicle provides, given his newly acquired manual. Not interested in attempting to save the broken and beaten SUV, he instead hauls its corpse back to his home to experiment, determined and fixated on ripping it apart, piece by piece. Hours begin to pass by as the enthralled survivor moves from one tool to the next, undoing bolts, bulbs, radios, screws, doors, and windows. Nothing was safe from his keen eye, and every part he could pair with his literature served as a small milestone towards his destination. Feeling mostly confident with his ability to now bypass the need for keys, Jules rewards himself with a bottle of wine, before discovering how unkempt his hair had become. Rectifying the mop that had grown atop his head, Jules once again recognizes the man staring back at him in the mirror before he slinks off to bed to get lost in the sweet embrace of the written word.